In Christian County and surrounding area on your home for Fighting Illini sports, New Country 104.1. Follow the orange and blue and go Illini.
Brought to you by Prairie Farms Dairy, Bob Ridings Pena, and Adam Jeffrey with Craig's Realtors in Taylorville.
I'm Brandon Bible, your local country financial representative at 1305 West Spresser in Taylorville. Stay tuned at the end of every Tornado Sports broadcast on WTIM's many platforms when the WTIM announcers select the WTIM Brandon Bible Country Financial Tornado Player of the Game from that particular game. The player will be spotlighted for their great play in the game and also be given a certificate honoring their accomplishment. My wife Sam and I are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Tornado Player of the Game this school year.
Find out all the goods or services provided by DeMichael Floors and more. 1217 West Presser in Taylorville by clicking their icon on the obituaries page of TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Find out about available units at Taylorville's Valley View Mobile Home Park, 913 North Taylorville Boulevard by clicking the Valley View Mobile Home Park icon on the obits page of TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
It's the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper, your host. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you will always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You'll find the streams on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook or on YouTube at WTIM TV. Taylorville School District Superintendent Dr. Chris Doherty in studio. Welcome in.
Good morning.
Good morning. Why don't we start it off by reviewing your communications from last night's board meeting?
Sure. So last night we had our March board meeting, and we had quite a few visitors over at the Taylorville High School Cafe. So it was great to see a lot of community members. And we had the opportunity to talk to quite a few different individuals who make an impact in our school district. And the first that I want to just share with you that we talked to is Anita Brown. And Anita Brown is our curriculum director in the district. So she's in charge of teaching and learning. And Anita Brown has written a bunch of grants and has really helped us out as far as what we can do also. But the other thing she's done recently is she's authored her very first book, and it's called The Masks We Wear. And it was a story that she collaborated with other educators and individuals across the world. It's a kind of a cool project. But we are so proud of Anita because she brings the importance of reading right to the forefront. If you remember, she's the person who helped get all the vending machines for books in our schools. So reading is key. And I just want to thank Anita and recognize her for her contributions and encourage everyone out in our community to pick up some books and encourage kids of all ages to pick up a book and do daily reading. It's key. Let's move into the cafeteria. Each month we recognize a staff member who makes a significant impact. This month it was Sherry Antonio, and she's an employee at the school district as of 9 years now. She's working at North School, and she packs breakfasts, serves lunches, and prepares food. She has the most upbeat personality. She works with a smile on her face. She's reliable. She comes to work on time every day, and she will take on anything that's needed in our buildings, even if she's got to help other schools out. So thank you, Sherry Antonio. We are proud of what you show on a daily basis. Next, we have a Tornado Appreciation Award winner. This is from the high school. And we have Rebecca Whipple, who was nominated by Mr. Nolte, and she was nominated for helpfulness in class. Following that, our Taylorville High School journalism program is always top notch. And they most recently won the coveted Blue Banner Award and the Zephyr and the yearbook. So prestigious golden dozen, just an amazing amount of work that's been going on in journalism. This weekend we had the play Annie in the school district. And so we congratulated the staff, the crew, and the staff for very talented performance of Annie, our spring musical. That was so exciting to see. It was held over at the junior high. And at the junior high, we have a gymatorium, which is a great space for the kids to perform, and held enough audience. We had plenty of chairs for additional also. So it was kind of exciting to see. I enjoyed it. The high school student Miley Sims, who played the Miss Hannigan in charge of the orphan children was to die for. She might be on Broadway someday, and I'm not sure we should leave her in charge of children. You should have seen her take on that character. Miley, you are a show stealer. It was amazing. The next is our CACC students. As you know, we send 2 groups of students on a daily basis to the Career and Tech Center in Springfield. And there are many schools that send students. So when students get recognized, they really have to stand out. And this month we have 3 that were recognized. One in the auto tech field, it's Billy Harden. One from the work-based learning, the co-op work program, it's Annalisa Harden. And one from the heating and air conditioning division, HVAC, who is Noah Blyler. So congratulations. Thank you for showcasing your talents and work ethic and representing Taylorville at that level. Next, we have THS Students of the Month. We have Rayleigh Oler, who is a freshman, Kendall Rexroth, a sophomore, Claire Vieira, a junior, and Carson Hefner, a senior. And over the weekend, our very own Owen Morgan showed success with track and field at the Louisville Indoor Games. He won the 1500 meter and placed second in the 800 with a 2-minute flat. He's qualified now to compete at indoor state meets. They're being held this weekend in Bloomington at the Shirk Center. So, Owen, we're behind you. Get in there and win another record. Next, we have some grants that were written by our staff and 2 to be recognized. Antoinette Spinner, one of our teachers, wrote a SCORE grant through the Teachers Association. And what it does is it puts neighborhood food pantry boxes in our city. She included our building trades program. She included the Taylorville High School Food Bank, the city food bank, and the mayor's office. And what they're going to do is have an ongoing process to replace grocery items in those 4 areas across the community. They'll be announced where they're located, and then people can go and access some groceries, anybody in town who needs those. So good job thinking of others, good job writing a grant, and good job helping our community. And the last item that I would just want to bring forth is our Taylorville science teacher, Marianne Meister. She wrote a Project Lead the Way grant for biomedical science. And she adds work to Project Lead the Way, which is tech, science, and mathematics. Hands-on work. Stephanie Leonard has written a few, and we've got programming established. This adds to that great body of work. So expands opportunities for our kids in the right direction and shows extreme leadership of our teachers stepping forward to go get more resources to help kids out. Thank you very much, Marianne Meister.
Going back a couple of line items towards Owen Morgan, he's competing in the indoor track and field meets, and I think that's a good segue into a pretty hot topic of discussion at last night's Taylorville School Board meeting. There's a few layers to this, so let me give some background. The board, and you can correct me if I'm wrong at any point here, Dr. Doherty, but the board agreed to have the architect conceptualize a sports complex with 4 basketball courts and an indoor track for athletes like Owen Morgan. And so let's go into the first layer of it. Tell me the state of the east wing of the high school.
Okay, so we had a structural analysis done on the east wing, and as you know, the east wing was listed as a out of commission structure in the high school. And during the pandemic, we opened up the top level and moved the district office into it because we were concerned about the economics of the world given the pandemic. So we spent 2 years there and basically painted the east wing, the upper level, and made it functional. But what we had the structural engineering come in and do was a report, and the roofing system on it is a wood roofing system that is degraded. Rotting is the word that was utilized. The structure is 70 years old, and then the walls have been wandering away from the roof. So when we took a look at restructuring that for tuck pointing and roofing, we put a halt to it and called in for a structural analysis because you can't attach a roof to a wandering wall. They wouldn't connect. There was gap and seepage. That's the top end of the building. The bottom end, the foundation, it's not shored up. So it's that's the reason that it's on a move. So they would have to stabilize the foundation of that building. And then below it is a tunnel that runs the heating and plumbing and water system, basically from the science wing all the way down to the East Gym. And it has, to use a term that's not technical, it's about blown out. We had gumball trees that were planted, I think sometime in the 50s. And those have created such a infrastructure issue in that area because they have tree roots the size of like a human thigh that have kind of messed up with that whole sewage system all throughout there. So I know last year when we were trying to limp that wing along, we had windows falling in. It's not HVAC'd. It would need to be brought to full compliance with the sprinkling system and with an elevator system. It is what they call a half floor, and it's not level for accessibility. And you have to have certain things to meet code in order to do programming on it. That's why it was decommissioned. And that's why we just bumped in for basically office space on it. The recommendation out of the engineering team was to remove it. And they did not do a detailed construction management program on bidding and everything to see what the actual cost would be, but they believe the actual cost would be 3 to 5 times the amount to repair it than to remove it. And they said it's just not good business to sink that much repair cost into a structure that is deemed removable.
In other words, it doesn't necessarily, it's not a must, but it's an absolute should that you need to remove everything. And yeah, and plus, I mean, there's classrooms and stuff, and you've got to replace some sort of educational value with those, which is where we come into the fine arts auditorium and sports complex project, which we'll talk about here in a moment. Your stream brought to you by Landmark Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first.
WTIM.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat all in the red at this hour. May corn 6.25 1/4, down 4 3/4. July corn down 5 1/4, 6.06. September corn 5.55 3/4, down 7 3/4. May beans 14.48 1/2, down 18 1/2. July beans down 21 1/2, 14.27. August beans 13.82. Down 21 1/2. May Chicago wheat 6.60 1/4, down 23. July wheat down 21 3/4, 6.70 3/4. May bean meal 451.90, down 8.70. May bean oil down 92 cents, 55.32. Livestock market. March feeders 188.32, down 45 cents. April live cattle 161 even, down $1.42. April lean hogs 76.60, down 45 cents. Energy market, May crude oil down 31 cents, 69.36. I'm Jim Taylor.
Angels Among Us. I'm Rose Ruhal at Visiting Angels. Our mission is to put seniors first, prioritizing the safety, security, and personal well-being of each and every client in our care. I'm excited to bring our services to Christian and Shelby counties. Click our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com for Visiting Angels, providing the care seniors and veterans deserve.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
Congratulations, you're having a little girl.
At that moment, everything changed. Our hopes and dreams for ourselves were instantly replaced by our hopes and dreams for her. We got life insurance policies from Shelter Insurance, so that regardless of what life throws at us, we'll still be able to provide the world to her.
Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri. See me, Harold Phillips, your shelter insurance agent on the east side of the Taylorville Square, or click my icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Witness the dedication and the heart.
My great-grandfather was a farmer, and my dad was a farmer, so there's several generations
of those that care for the land we have.
The Illinois Nutrient Loss Reduction Strategy has become a thing in and of itself.
An exclusive documentary.
I've never come to the point where I've implemented a practice and I say, let's quit.
Sustaining Our, now available to watch on the Illinois Farm Bureau YouTube channel.
Time to get back to doing those spring activities you used to do. Taylorville Care Center can put a spring back in your step with an extensive rehab program to get you back home. Find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Hi, this is Will Perkins with Taylorville Community Credit Union. Find out about all the products and services we provide by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
It's a WTIM morning show. I'm Avery Cooper, your host. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You'll find the streams on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com's Facebook or on WTIM TV YouTube. Taylorville School District Superintendent Dr. Chris Doherty giving a state of affairs for the Taylorville School District, and the big topic at the Taylorville School District board meeting, the monthly board meeting Tuesday night, was the Fine Arts Auditorium and Sports Complex. Dr. Doherty, a moment ago, you established where we are in the East Wing and the East Gym at Taylorville High School. That should and must be removed and will be removed. You approved a bid to have it demolished for a little over $300,000, if I remember correctly. But where does that leave us now? Because you got to replace that at some point. Before we get into where we are now, let's give it back into a little bit more background.
Sure. Tell
me the design and development that took place towards getting us to where we are for the Fine Arts Auditorium and Sports Complex.
So, approximately 4 years ago, pre-pandemic, last night, the president of the school board, Trish Marburger, gave a recap on our strategic planning. And in it, she talked about that process and how it brought everybody together. And it brought citizens, and it brought teachers, and it brought custodians and administrators and board members, and every aspect of the education system. And we ended up with 5 categories. And those categories became committees. And so finance was one committee, and facilities another, curriculum, co-curriculum, and PR. So the president last night gave a State of the Union address essentially on the success and the importance of that strategic planning and keeping our eye on it, even through the pandemic, which was so disruptive. We still have just a tremendous amount of outcome. But as a result of that work and getting everybody on the same page, the finances are in order, and the buildings have been shored up, and there are plans because of some grant efforts and some dollars and some of those decisions. We've got additional dollars. So that's really what started this conversation. So then we started as a steering and focus group about 1.5 years ago, selected an architect, and went out and saw what it was that the community would like to see in place. And the community would like to see a multi-purpose space that meets the needs for the kids. So it'd be sports, it'd be fine arts, it'd be technology with the TV studio. And so then they were set forth to do a design development, which is an intricate plan. And that came forth. And we were excited. We had our finances in place. We had basically a funding proposal. And when at that point, we looked at 2 versions of what was presented. And there was a funding gap of about $5 million. And the consensus of the group was go with the all-out plan, and the community will put efforts in place and raise the gap, the $5 million gap. Well, that time has passed. We were able to raise about $116,000, which is a tremendous gift. Some were individual gifts. I mean, Stephen Turner personally gave $10,000, and the Memorial Hospital gave $100,000, and then the Katie Freely Memorial gave additional, a little over $6,000. So those donations that came in, while significant, are too shy of the $5 million gap. So that's the piece of it. And then we were talking about, do we move more fund balance over to cover that? And we could, even with, we just settled 2 contracts this week with our teacher union and our non-cert union. We had that projected in. We had our safety net projected in, so we have days cash on hand so we can operate, and we could still make that move. And it is on the table, this conversation, but that's the gap money. So what we have prior to that is the 13.9 million. And those were just dollars because of grant writing and work that were above and beyond the repair plan that we'd put forth through the bonding process and through budgeting. So that may still happen. But what happened was we went out to bid then on the plan, and it came in 5 million above our top end. So that's really a $10 million gap. So the first 5 didn't get covered. So we cannot in good faith recommend to put the district in financial jeopardy. And so that is the reason we're in the position we're in. We came back as a building committee and finance committee and broke it down that way. And so now it goes to the conversation about, here are the dollars. What can we do to serve students? And the conversation is moving into phases because there's not enough resources right now. And we're still looking at some recessionary and some inflation costs that are just, the cement, the labor, and the steel came in. The construction management companies are really good at estimating costs. And they were just flabbergasted at the rate in which it came in. But we're taking a different approach now, and we're chunking it into phases. And we're hopeful that that's a shorter project and a shorter amount of commitment from those that are bidding on the work. And we think perhaps we can contain costs this way. So last night, the demo and the addition of the classroom special education wing at the high school by the science wing. And so we're rebidding that to see if perhaps that comes in at a standalone cost to move forward and get that piece done. And then we asked them to put a concept design together that could encompass the regulation track. And just the talk about that is what can we do looking into the future. So that would be a phase piece. We still know that we need to accommodate a place for our performers and a place for our studio, our award-winning Tommy TV studio. I mean, they're at the heart center of what we do. Right now, they're in some makeshift areas.
Yeah.
And as you know, the district office, the reason that we were able to move is we did secure a community-based grant for that building. So we purchased a CTI building with a grant.
And in short here, because we got to go,
Okay.
Dr. Doherty, the district is still planning on an auditorium. It's just unclear at this time when. What
we're doing is we're looking at phasing to
Right.
see, what the budget can support.
Eventually it'll come.
Yeah, the facilities somehow as a community we'll figure out facilities to meet needs.
Okay. That is Superintendent Dr. Chris Doherty. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
That these two are locked at the hip